Crusaders, and welcome to my latest episode. My name is Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're reviewing one of my more anticipated sequels of 2022, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. This is a movie that, the first Knives Out film, I think it was 2019, 2018, trying to remember which year it was a movie that I wasn't necessarily prepared for or wasn't expecting to like or love. Rian Johnson was just coming off Last Jedi, so he had a lot of negativity around his name. Not that I hated Last Jedi or anything like that, but it was one of those things where you saw the trailer for the first film and you weren't quite sure if it was just going to be kind of kooky and dumb or actually incredibly brilliant, and it leaned more towards the latter. Daniel Craig creating a brand new character in Benoit Blanc and his I loved in the first movie with Chris Evans called him this Colonel Sanders. I'm blanking on the name of the rooster from Looney Tunes. Kind of drawl. And while at first it was something that you had to kind of get used to, it's storming here, so apologize for the thunder. It was something that you ended up loving. You loved the kookiness of Daniel Craig and how he just really dove in to this kind of character. Foghorn Leghorn, that's the name of the rooster. But I loved the cast of the first one: Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Don Johnson. I mean, Michael Shannon. The cast is fantastic. So when I saw that they were making a sequel, first off, I was extremely excited because we knew a sequel was coming because this was too good not to get a sequel. And then we saw the cast for the sequel. I mean, you got Edward Norton, who's always fantastic. Kate Hudson, who hasn't been around for a little while now. You got Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, who's always fantastic. Janelle Monáe, who I like in some things, but not in others. Jessica Henwick, who I adore. Leslie Odom Jr., I love him in Hamilton. And you're getting all these people all together again for a brand new kind of story. And then I heard it was going to be on Netflix, and I was a little worried because I know how great Knives Out was, and I know how much of a box office success Knives Out was. And I thought that maybe going to Netflix, A, was going to hurt the film, or B, really kind of sell itself short and kind of cut it off at the legs in order to make a good box office, success with it. Now, they did decide to release it in theaters for a week, and then take it out of theaters, and then they're going to drop it again here in, I think it's December 23rd on Netflix. So for anybody who's watching this now, I don't believe in theaters anymore, which sucks. But I do think basically after seeing Glass Onion that doing this 1 week in theaters and then waiting a month on Netflix, I think is a great disservice to this film. I think this movie could have been one of the bigger box offices of the fall, especially since we are getting movies coming out, but they've got nothing. I mean, all you got this upcoming week is Violent Night, which I'm hoping is fantastic. But there's not really a whole lot in terms of, big films until Avatar comes out. And Knives Out or Glass Onion really could have taken advantage of that. Instead, they just did a 1 week deal, and now we gotta wait till December 23rd to watch it on Netflix as many times as we want for basically Netflix membership. Now, the story of Glass Onion, we follow, Benoit Blanc. This is during, COVID area 2020, so we got some COVID jokes, some COVID-type surroundings in the area, and he is basically going stir-crazy mad, being cooped up in his loft, and basically not having a new mystery, something to energize him, something to basically kind of, pique his mental, intelligence. And he gets basically invited to this private island led by Miles Braun, played by Edward Norton, who's kind of like this Elon Musk type, and all of his friends from, different areas. Got Kate Hudson, who plays Birdie J. She's a multiple time canceled model. You got Dave Bautista, who's a kind of like a Twitch influencer. Catherine Hahn, who's, I believe, a governor in the film. She's a politician. Janelle Monáe, who plays Andy. She's basically Miles' old partner. Peg, played by Jessica Henwick, who's Kate Hudson's assistant. And Leslie Odom Jr. plays Lionel Toussaint, who is a brilliant scientist. And then, of course, Madeline Klein as Whiskey, who is Duke, Dave Bautista's girlfriend. So they all come to this island, and basically Miles wants to basically get everyone together, hang out, and basically have them solve his murder. Not his real murder, obviously, but a murder mystery, a lot like Clue and all that kind of stuff. And they bring Benoit Blanc in to basically kind of, I guess, boost it up a little bit. And that's where the basic story goes, and I'm not going to go much further into that, because then that's when you start really going into what makes Glass Onion as great as it is. Daniel Craig, once again, has created this brilliant new character in Benoit Blanc, and I could watch Daniel Craig play this character for the rest of his days. He was a great James Bond, but he doesn't want to be James Bond anymore, so you know what? Just be Benoit Blanc. I'm not saying don't do other things, because Daniel Craig is allowed to do other films, but as long as he keeps coming back to do these kind of Knives Out mysteries, and as long as Rian Johnson or whoever wants to direct these films is coming back and doing Benoit Blanc's service and making it worth the while of Daniel Craig to come back with this character, I will watch the next 12 Knives Out movies and be glad to watch it. I mean, I'd rather watch a Knives Out 12 before I see a Fast and Furious 12, and I actually don't hate the Fast and Furious films. But I love the intrigue. I love the cast that they build around in both of these films. I love the mystery of it, even if you can solve the mystery a little faster than others, which I did this time out. I really, really enjoyed this film. Edward Norton is fantastic as Miles. He has these run-off monologues where you're just watching him and you just kind of have to sit back and go, man, Edward Norton really is awesome. He might not be well to get along with in certain respects, but when he's on screen and you just let him go, he's great. Dave Bautista, always funny, always energetic for his kind of, stature kind of character. Catherine Hahn is good in the film. I kind of wish they gave her a little more to do, and that's kind of the problem when you get a cast this big, much like Knives Out, the first film, is that there are so many great actors in this film that not some of them will get shortchanged and won't get the tip of the hat, or at least more scenes than others. Obviously in the first film it was mostly Ana de Armas getting the main stuff, which was great because she was kind of the newcomer, and it shot her up into superstardom. Now you see Ana de Armas everywhere. In this movie it's more Janelle Monáe who's getting a lot more to do this time around, and while Janelle Monáe is someone that I have been kind of off and on. She's good in some things and in others. This definitely is a showcase for Janelle Monáe, especially alongside with Daniel Craig. I really, really enjoyed her performance throughout. Kate Hudson's Birdie J can be borderline annoying, but she does it in a way that's charismatic enough that you actually want to watch her on screen with this kind of a character. Leslie Odom Jr. is also kind of like Catherine Hahn. They're good but in parts, but they don't get a whole lot to do. And same thing goes with Jessica Henwick, who is really kind of running up for the award of most underused actress in Hollywood. This is like the 5th movie that she's been in, and she's greatly, greatly underutilized in this film. She was greatly underutilized in The Gray Man, and there was at least 3 other movies I remember talking to Brian about that they just don't use her to her full... Oh, Matrix last year. She's such a phenomenal actress, and they just don't utilize her properly. And I hope that eventually someone's going to see how brilliant Jessica Henwick is and use her properly. Nonetheless, though, visually, Glass Onion looks fantastic. The island that Miles has, the quote-unquote Glass Onion, the scenery of all these shots of the rooms, the way the cinematography is shot throughout this film is gorgeous. The way the music is done in this film is awesome. They do a great job of grabbing you and clinching their claws into you and making you stay at a full-on attention throughout this whole film. At the start of the second act, they do something to completely kind of flip it on its head, which is either going to work for a lot of people or not work for most people. It worked for me because it made me look at the movie in a different kind of scope and a different type of way, that it all basically kind of felt a little more fuller to me, much like how Knives Out did in the first go-around. In terms of, is this better or worse than the first Knives Out film, I kind of feel like that's a disservice to both movies. They can both kind of be their own separate thing. Don't try to, categorize these guys in the same group. Yes, they're both mysteries, and yes, they both have Benoit Blanc, but they are both greatly different in terms of what their stories are. So to try to go apples and oranges on which one's better and which one isn't is not fair to either film. I think there are things that Glass Onion does that is better than Knives Out, and I think there are things that Knives Out does that is better than Glass Onion. But both of them together are superior films that have come out here in both of their respected years. Glass Onion is one of my more favorite films of 2022 so far. I had a blast watching it, and I can't wait to watch it again when it comes out on Netflix. And like I said, I can watch Daniel Craig be Benoit Blanc for as many times as he wants to do it. Rian Johnson, I think this is the perfect kind of films for him to direct. Not the Star Wars universe, because unless they're going to give him his own thing away from Skywalker Saga, which I hope they start doing that in general now, then maybe give him something to do. But this kind of mystery, whodunit kind of film is right where Rian Johnson's sweet spot is. And when you keep having these great casts from those first two films kind of come in and breathe life into this whodunit kind of story, which used to be a very tired trend back in the day, but now is getting this resurgence over the last couple of years because of the first Knives Out film. I am excited to see every single one of these movies that come out, and I cannot wait to see what they do with a third Knives Out, which, not that they left it open-ended for that, but let's face it, we're going to get a third Knives Out film, and I cannot wait to see it. Going to my overall score for Knives Out, I am going to give it a 91%. I think the cast is all incredibly solid. Some don't get used nearly as much as others, but the ones that do get the showcase, they knock it out of the park. Daniel Craig's phenomenal. Benoit Blanc, it visually looks stunning. The music is stunning. The story is solid throughout. There's little points here and there where it can get a little messy, but what whodunit story doesn't have a little bit of a mess to it? That's kind of the nostalgia of it all. But I think if you guys like the first Knives Out film, like any of these actors, then you should go out of your way to check this out on December 23rd when it drops on Netflix. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, hit the follows on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, a review for A Violent Night will probably be coming out this weekend. I know I got to work around my work schedule in order to see it. But as soon as I do, I will have a review out here for you, maybe with Brian Michaels, because that was his most anticipated film of the year going into the fall. Also, Brian and Michaels and myself will be getting together for an MCU phase show where we talk about each phase in each episode, ranking our films and favorite moments from each film in the MCU. And then, of course, more movies are coming out here in December, so there'll be plenty of reviews. And then, of course, at year's end, Brian and I will be back for our best and worst of the year, our Movie Crusaders award show, our second year of that, we'll be back with. So we got plenty of videos coming on the channel, so be on the lookout for all that. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.